I said I got somebody tickling my ankle down here. It's the
my
cat.
The cat.
Yeah. Okay.
See, he usually don't come on.
Okay.
He likes
you,
evidently.
Hi, buddy. Hi. Okay, so we'll start with you tell me about when, like, your first memories. Oh, now, where did you grow up?
I grew up here in Saranac, Michigan.
Okay, now where did you, and who was your mom?
My mom was Esther Loker, Esther By.
Yeah, and your
My
dad
husband,
was?
Byron By, but everybody called him Buck.
Okay. And where did you guys live?
Well, we lived a lot of different places in town here when I was little. And then we moved to Pontiac, Michigan.
Okay.
We lived there a few years.
Now before...
When I was a little baby, I think we lived with my grandma Mammy at first. And then we moved across the street to a little house over there when I was a little teeny baby.
Okay.
And
now let's get, so everybody knows who's, because there are people, I know who you are and I know who your relatives are, but so Gertrude Talcott was your
aunt.
My
My mother's
and your
sister.
Mom, Esther, was her sister. Okay. So tell me about what it was like before you moved when you were a little girl growing up here in Saranac. How did you guys get around? Did you have cars then? Did you ride horses or buggies, or what did you guys do?
Well, I gotta think, because when I was smaller, we went to Pontiac. And when I was probably about 2 or 3, they had a home there, and then we moved across the street from there, and my grandfather By lived with us, and he had to have a goat because of his stomach, you know, they had, whatever it was. And
now, when did you move back to Saranac?
And then we moved back to Saranac. I really can't remember when we did, but we would come back a lot.
To visit.
Come back to visit my grandma Mammy and Grandpa Chardy.
Okay.
And I'd come up and spend, and we lived quite a while, I think, down in Pontiac. And then when school was out and stuff, I would come up and spend the time with my grandpa and grandma. And I went up to the Talcotts all the time. I lived half the time up there with the kids. Loved it with all those 6 kids. And they always had those kids always had a bunch of kids in. And we'd eat at the table. Boy, you want to grab when you could, you know. But it was so fun. Everybody in town loved to go up to the Talcott kids' house. It was fun. Makes me have chills right now and makes me think about wish it was there. You know, I loved all those kids so. And anyway, when we lived, and then my folks moved into town in Pontiac. And Jean and Shirley and Pat would come down there. I can remember sitting on that porch, rocking. And there's some boys down the street that always wanted to come up, and they come up and talk to the girls and things. And then my folks moved back to Saranac. And I was probably 7 or 8, maybe 9.
Okay.
And went to school.
Where did you guys live then?
But I started school here. So my folks must have lived here. I've forgotten a lot of things.
When you came back here,
yeah.
And where did you guys live? Did you live in
We
town?
lived in that big house on Mill Street, 50 Mill Street, right there by Ayers' house. And the kids, David and all them know where Ayers is. Ayers is right beside there. And John Adgate's is right across the street to their place. And so we had a barn. And
you went to the old school in Saranac?
I went to the old school, yes. And I graduated there, and then I went to a college in Grand Rapids.
So what were your...
school for about a year and that, and then I met my husband at a horse race, naturally. But I'm kind of getting way ahead of things.
What kind of stuff would you guys do during the summers or the Talcott
Oh, we do everything. Jean would take a whole bunch of us. You'd take Bobby, what's his name, and the Weeks kids, and us, and all of us kids. Bud and Bill and David, and we go back in old Viney's place, back in the Sandhills. We always played back in the Sandhills with our horses and our buggies and things. Oh, we had fun. You can't believe the fun that we had, just like in the movies. Because we'd make fox money and stuff, and we'd take the take the ponies and the other ones with their horses and things, and like rob the little buggies and things, and played Indians. I mean, all that kind of crazy stuff, and it was just fun. And we had a big sand pile where all the kids would come play out. It was kind of on the hill, but we would do that. And then in the wintertime, we would go up to up at the old mill pond. There's hardly any water left up there, and we would skate and ski on the hills and have our sleds in those big sleds. What do you call them? Toboggans. And I can remember that one year that Jean was in the beauty contest up there. She got second, but she was the prettiest. But this girl's dad was a big shot up there, and she sold more tickets. They sold tickets and stuff, but she was so beautiful, and she had this kind of a blue suit on with all white, the white real hair. I can remember how beautiful she was. It was so fun. And so anyway, in the summertime, I would help up there. I would even help milk once in a while. And once in a while, the thing would kick over the bucket, and Uncle Keith, he'd get mad. But anyway, I helped them in the fields, and we would use those ponies at first, and stack hay and stuff, you know, like up in the back, up in there, up in the old orchard. And so after all the stuff, the kids would be helping in town, the Weeks kids and Bobby Buchema and some of them, and Uncle Keith would take us out to Peck Lake out there, and we'd go swimming, and it was so much fun on Delserman Island, I guess it called. It was out there, Delserman's, and it was fun. And I can remember Aunt Gertrude having, when they were doing all the things that farmers do and stuff, you know, the haying and all those kind of things, she'd have these big dinners. Oh, it was fun. She made all those beautiful biscuits, you know, that raised up, and pies, and the girls would help. And the whole thing, it was so fun. You can't believe the fun that we had with those Talcott kids. I loved them. Oh my gosh. And then I met my husband.
Well, tell me about, before you get into that, tell me about your grandparents. Tell me
Grandpa
about...
and Grandma Charlie. Oh, my grandma, I lived with them a lot. I come up, my mother was sick and in the hospital, like, and so I came up and spent some time with them. That's when I went to school, I think, and stuff, with my grandpa and grandma. And grandma used to make me clothes, beautiful clothes, and then she would, in the catalog, is when we have catalogs, and we would send for clothes and stuff, and she'd send and get me some clothes, and it used to be so exciting.
Now, did Pudge come with you?
No, she didn't.
She didn't. Okay.
No, she wasn't always with them like that. She was always with my folks the most, but I was with my grandpa and them a lot, and I don't know why. I did, and I loved it, I guess. Anyway. And
they lived right down there?
And they lived right there on the street part. So it was so nice right there where that big,
where the gas station
Scotty's is and all that.
Yeah.
And there used to be big buildings in there, and people tie their horses up. But I can remember the horses and buggies coming into town. That was when the roads didn't have any cement on them or anything. Grandpa and Grandma's house, you know, that, my gosh, we'd go up and down there, and it'd be all the dust and stuff. But
what was Charlie and Mammy? What kind of a couple were they?
Oh, wonderful. Just wonderful. And my grandma was such a good cook. Oh my gosh, she was such a good. And then on Christmas or Thanksgiving or Easter, everybody would come to my grandpa and grandma's. All the Talcotts. Oh, it was fun with all those kids. You know, oh, it was more fun. Then we'd play down that basement, down the old that's where the coal was. You had to be real careful. You get all black. But anyway, it was fun. And
then across the street
and
was
across
your
the street
other...
was Grandma and Grandpa Talcott.
Yeah.
And I'd go over and sit with Grandma Talcott a lot. And Grandma Talcott was a real elegant person, you know, and I loved that. I just loved the elegance anyway, and pretty things, and she liked pretty things. I can remember she'd give me a nickel or something to go over town for, so that was always so nice. A nickel was a lot of money in those days, even a penny. So it was a lot of fun. And So, well, I gotta think a minute. But we had our school. I loved school. I loved it. And I graduated there.
Did all you kids
So
ever get? Did all your
know.
kids ever get in any any
troubles?
ruckuses? Did you ever get any trouble, or did you ever get in any?
We really
Did you ever fight back and forth?
I don't think we ever really did. Us kids.
Did you play tricks on each other or anything?
I can't remember that, but we probably did. But we just did all kinds of stuff. Annie and I over, we'd play. We'd play bat and ball and all that stuff and everything. And I can remember going. David and I and Bill, we'd go up to the orchard thing and we'd stand on the horses to get the things on the trees. We'd stand on those horses, our horses and our ponies and stuff. So it was so fun. And I can remember Jean, she got this beautiful horse, and we had Pepper, which belonged to all the Talcott kids, and Pepper, everybody knew Pepper. And Prince was Jean's horse. I went with her to buy that horse, and that horse was, I think, from Muskers, or I think their names are Muskers, something like that. And it had been on the police force. It was a police horse. He was so beautiful. He must have been almost 17 hands. And
how'd she get it home? Ride it?
I can't remember. I can't remember. Probably. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe not. So anyway, that was fun. And but Talcotts, they loved horses, and I loved horses. So that was always fun to go up there. I mean, I'd stay lots of times to stay, you know, for days and stuff.
So your aunt...
I can remember that chicken. David and I were scared to death, that big old rooster. He'd chase us, and he'd just put those feet right into us. You know, Uncle Keith finally killed that sucker. I'm telling you, we were scared to death, that big white chicken. It was awful.
I think I've heard that story before, too, about the
But it was fun. Then we went up Old Scott Road right there, and we had a big barn up there, and that's where we put all the hay and things. And one day, the horses were in there, and old Jack fell down, and the horse fell down the thing, hooked to the other horse. I can't remember how we pulled the horse up, but it seems like it was the veterinary that came and helped us do this thing. I don't know how we got it up out of there. I was screaming and hollering. I can remember that. It was so scary, but we did get him up, and it was all right.
Now, if I were to ask you to give me a word to describe Aunt Gertrude.
I loved my Aunt Gertrude.
Well, how would you describe her?
She was...
give me a word. Can you think of a word that would... You can think about it a second.
Well, okay. She meant what she said when she'd say it, you know.
Okay.
And we knew it. We would mind my aunt. Yeah, you know. And Uncle Keith was so easygoing. And he'd read a lot and that, but...
So they were a little different.
Well, naturally.
Very different.
Because opposites attract.
Yes.
See, always. So anyway, that's the way it was, but... It was always fun. It was always busy there. Always busy with kids and people. A lot of people would come up there, and they'd play cards, my uncle and aunt and all them, with the Agates and a bunch of the people. And it was just fun. That's all I can say. These kids today miss everything. Just miss everything. And we didn't have all this ball game things going on, and all this soccer, and all this crap. It was family.
No cell phones.
Yeah, yeah.
No phones.
We did everything up there with Talcott. So, I mean...
Probably didn't even have TV.
Didn't have a TV. And the first one in town was Bud. My cousin Bud. And everybody go up there, and it was just a little one.
That was probably
way
later.
Yeah.
You were older.
Yeah. Well, I was in my teens.
Did y'all listen to the radio?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.